Hi everyone, it's Dr. Ramani. Welcome back to this YouTube channel on narcissism and toxic relationships. I hope what you learn here helps you protect yourself if you're in one of these relationships, get out if you want to get out, or avoid getting in the first place. If you're new to this channel, please just hit that subscribe button, join this community, and if you like this video, give us that thumbs up. So we're going to be talking a little bit about communicating in a narcissistic relationship, which really is a bit of an oxymoron because I'm not exactly sure how you do that. But we're going to talk about going into the narcissistic communication cave. Let's talk about what that looks like. I know what some of you are thinking. I know I am not supposed to call the narcissist out and tell them that I think they're narcissistic. But how do I have the conversation about their narcissistic behavior? If you've watched this channel long enough, you know one of the fundamental truths about narcissism and narcissistic relationships. You really can't call them out. Never ever is it useful to roll up to them and say, hey, you're a narcissistic and you're a gaslighter. It's going to backfire and end up with you being called a narcissist or worse, and it will resolve nothing. Any of you who have been in couples therapy, perhaps in family therapy or workplace mediation, or even your own therapy, you know one thing for sure. Therapists are big on communication. It's meant to be the core skill of working on all relationship issues, workplace issues, family issues. And if we were better at it, well, then by golly, our relationships would work. But that whole communication groove does not work in narcissistic relationships. You could be the relationship whisperer guru, and in a narcissistic relationship, none of that is going to work. So I will tell folks, especially those who are in the early days of finally recognizing that there are some of these patterns are narcissistic, and hopefully you do detect them early, or you're finally seeing the patterns and recognizing they're consistent and can't unsee them, to slowly walk into something I'd call the narcissistic communication cave, which is kind of dark and scary. To throw that communication Hail Mary pass, the proverbial shot across the bow. It's a way of speaking your truth without calling out the narcissist. After you do this even once, you have the data, you need to make a decision or at least to get some clarity. So let's think of this as a visual. Imagine walking into a dark cave slowly, step by step. I didn't like the way you spoke to me in front of our friends. It felt disrespectful. They deny that. Say, this is not the first time this has happened. I just want you to ask yourself to be aware of yourself when you talk with me. It doesn't feel good. And then they defend themselves and blame you. I just wanted you to know that I felt uncomfortable at what you did. And then they tell you that you're too sensitive. See, you're walking those steps into that cave, right? Or we can turn this around. It could be, hey, I'd love if you could join me when I go to this work party I need to go to. Well, that's stupid. I don't want to come to your work party. No. The people I work with really enjoy hearing about your travels, and I would love it if you would come with me. Why would I waste my time with that? Oh, I'd really love the company. Oh my God, I can't be bothered. Simply going in that cave, speaking your truth, taking deeper steps into the communication cave. Show you what they are about and facilitate radical acceptance. You're not going to change them. You're also not calling them out. And it shows you pretty clearly who they are if you are willing to open your eyes, call out the patterns, and really pay attention to their responses. I always feel a little uncomfortable telling people to go into the darkness of the communication cave to throw this communication bomb. Because if indeed this person is narcissistic, that your suspicions are right, it's not going to go well and you're going to get hurt. But it will be honest. And if you're really willing to see it clearly, and that's the key, it could alleviate some of that self-doubt. It's as though you want to make sure you tried everything. And because so many people doubt if they are right about another person's narcissistic patterns, throwing this communication Hail Mary pass and just walking step by step into that narcissistic communication cave, strangely enough, becomes a way to get that clarity and stop that navel gazing of just ruminating about the patterns in the relationship and really call it out to yourself, not to them, to yourself. So what does it look like to really lob this communication bomb, to really walk into that cave? It means, and pay attention, it means calling out the behaviors and patterns and giving examples. hey, I don't feel comfortable talking about money because whenever that happens, it turns into accusations. It's like when you told me I was a gold digger. You told me that you would contact me when you left your event. I was worried and it felt uncomfortable because I wasn't able to set the house alarm and I had an early day the next day. Or, I often feel you are telling me things are untrue when they are true. And I spend a while doubting myself and checking the texts I sent to make sure I was right. You're thinking, girl, if I said this to a narcissistic person in my life, they're going to go bonkers. Yes, they are. But doing what I'm saying means being clear about what you need. I would be grateful if you made more time, or came home for dinner a few times a week, or we did financial planning together, or I want to take this promotion and it may mean more time from you picking up the children, or I would love for us to talk more and communicate more about what we both need, or I want us to try to communicate more clearly about when you need my help because I can't guess at when you will need me. Oh, I know all of you are thinking at home, Dr. Ramani is high tonight. That's how she's making this video. Listen, I'm not high. And I'm not saying that any of what I'm telling you is going to work. I am saying that with you being clear, you can see how distorted their behavior and responses are. It becomes a lot harder to justify their behavior when you're clear and they are abusive. But you got to make sure you avoid calling out their motivations. Don't say things like, it's like you want to hurt me, or you don't care about me, or there's no way you can love me if you do this or that. They're not going to cop to it, and you have no way of knowing what their motivations are. Also, do not name their patterns. Don't say you are narcissistic, or your behavior is narcissistic, or you are gaslighting me, or you are a sociopath, or you are passive aggressive. It doesn't work, and by the time they're done, you're the sociopath, right? That's what they're going to call you. So if you do this right, and they are narcissistic, what I'm telling you to do, it won't go well. They will tell you that you're too sensitive, that you expect too much, that they did call before they left the event, and that you are the gaslighter when they didn't call. They will tell you that they are tired of how insecure you are. They will likely gaslight you even more. They will not be accountable. They will instead be really defensive. They will not take responsibility. They will rationalize their behavior. They will make excuses, and the cherry on top, they will tell you that you are a raging narcissist. So you were wondering, Dr. Ramani, are you having a little bit of a sadistic moment? Why are you suggesting that I do this? Why would you have me jump into the fire? And my answer to that is to get it out of the way. What does every shrink, coach, friend, and family member say to you about the relationship? They say, did you talk to them? Did you ask them? It feels like crap to be asked this. So let's just do it. Let's rule it out. Be clear. Don't be accusatory. Be clear. If their traditionally toxic behavior is followed up with even more toxic communication after you try to speak clearly and non-accusatorily to them, then you have confirmation. It's not you wondering. It's you communicating clearly about what you need, what isn't working. But I only want you to do it once. One time in the cave. After that once, you have what you need. If you get a defensive, tantrumy mess, then you can be pretty darn confident that your hypothesis about their antagonistic personality is spot on. You got it right. And now you can more confidently start the work of radical acceptance, realistic expectations, boundary setting, and stopping personalizing. But so many people just sit there and clutch their pearls and wonder, are they narcissistic? Aren't they? And I think a lot of people are scared to even get it confirmed. You only need to do this once. Jump into this cave once. Now, if you get back a healthy response and they say to you, hey, thanks for being clear. I'm so sorry I haven't been clear. It's not an excuse, but I let work get the best of me. And then they start communicating clearly and really take ownership, well then that's not narcissism, right? I know some of you are thinking, well, maybe I go into the narcissistic communication cave. There I throw the communication Hail Mary pass. And they're just having a bad day. That's why they're so defensive. Nah, you've had these suspicions for a long time. You want to go in that cave twice? You do you. You're going to get the same response. The bigger problem is that people want to share that big reveal, the, ha, gotcha. I know what gaslighting is, and that is what you are doing, or I know what narcissism is, and I've got your number. That doesn't clear up the confusion. If they are indeed narcissistic, they're going to lash back 1,000 times worse. If they are not narcissistic, you actually may really hurt them without honestly communicating clearly about what has been bothering you. The clarity helps you win on either side of this. The fact is, the word narcissism is overused. I see simplistic TikToks, people who don't get it, talking about it. So this word narcissism has lost its power and its utility as a word anyhow. It's a bucket term, right? That captures a set of patterns. And these patterns we know are not good for us. We hold the hope that the narcissistic people will change. The only way to determine that is to communicate clearly about the patterns one time and see what comes back. Use the orthodox therapist playbook of communication. And when that defensive crap comes back at you, you don't need to put yourself in harm's way anymore. No more need for direct communication with them. You can put the hope away, throw it out in the trash, stop the future faking of yourself, stop listening to theirs, and start the ground game of managing or getting out of a narcissistic relationship. Once people understand what narcissism is, they often feel stymied, and I understand that. Sometimes you need to try to do it the so-called right way, communicate directly and clearly once, and see how badly they push back. If they don't push back, then maybe you did misread the situation. If they do, well, there you go. And if all you're doing is asking for simple, healthy things and they are invalidating you, criticizing you, insulting you, then there's your answer. Listen, sometimes Hail Mary passes do go in the hoop. Sometimes they get caught, and that's great. But usually they don't. But you won't know until you try, so do it. View this clear communication exercise as a fishing expedition, a data gathering exercise, a way to test the relationship. Yes, communicating clearly can feel like walking deeper and deeper into that scary confirmatory cave. Just do it once, get the hell out of the darkness, and rule out whether or not this is a narcissistic relationship once and for all. So then you know how to proceed. But stop wondering and waiting. Because the wondering and waiting is a bit of magical thinking like, oh, maybe if I don't really see it clearly, then there's still hope. You can waste years doing that. Thanks again.